in my survival mode, I thought I was thriving because I was literally doing everything I had to do to make sure I stay ahead of the game. But guess what? I was really holding myself back because I wasn't thinking about how this would affect me. What would I do if I wanted to do this? What do I need to do if I want to do that? I just literally went with the flow, and going with the flow is not always good. It's not. Hey y'all, it's your little big sis CJ Renee. We're back with another episode. As y'all can see, we're not in our usual space of recording because I'm on the go. I'm on the move. I'm on vacation, y'all. All right? So we're just going to jump right into it. So thriving with intention, from surviving to strategizing. That is the name of today's episode. Isn't that powerful? I think it is. So, when I was going through my survival stage, I thought that there was a lot of unique tools that I used to be able to, think on my feet and respond to situations accordingly, or, whatever. And I thought I was doing a pretty great job. At one point I thought, thriving was me just not struggling. And so, to be honest, if I was surviving, then I was doing great. That's what I thought. But in reality, thriving really takes a lot of intention. In order for you to be thriving, you have to be thinking about your next move. Just like chess players do. When they think 5 steps ahead, they make sure they're not only thinking one-dimensionally, but multi-dimensionally, right? And so when you think about survival is one-dimensional. It's reactive. You're reacting to everything that happens around you instead of responding with tact, right? So to me, thriving is basically you being aware of your needs, being aware of your emotions, being aware of how relationships are serving you, growth, personal growth, emotional growth, even taking care of yourself. Like, a lot of people don't realize that throughout the day, they're not even really taking care of themselves. That may look like going to the spa, getting your nails done, getting your hair done, buying new clothes, whatever that is for you. Like, take a bubble bath once in a blue. Take care of yourself. That's what thriving really is about. It's being intentional about yourself. So let's jump right into it, right? So let's be realistic. Just like I said, there's different versions of thriving. I want y'all to know that thriving may look different for everyone, right? For you, it may be, getting that good job. For someone else, it may be just waking up on time in the mornings to get to work, right? Thriving may look like being able to be in a situation where you're being confronted and you have to control how you respond. That may be you thriving. Thriving may look like joy. It may look like peace. It may look like being able to protect your energy, from people, places, and things. So just be aware that everyone has a different version of thriving, but it mainly has to do with growth, peace, purpose, and ownership. So just remember that thriving is not being busy. If y'all remember me saying that in my last episode, thriving is not being busy, okay? It's not being loud. It's not being successful in the world's eyes. So that means you having all the money in the world does not mean you're thriving. Hello, somebody. Having all the money in the world does not mean you're thriving. That means you are doing good financially. That's great. And I'm proud of you for doing that, okay? It's about being aligned. That's what thriving is about. Being aligned with yourself, being aligned with your emotions, being aligned with your spirituality. I hope you have a spirituality, especially if you're following me, because that's what we talk about, okay? Being aligned with who's around you, because a lot of people have a lot of people that's around them that don't need to be around them, or you don't need to be around those people, vice versa, whatever. So yes, it has a lot to do with being aligned. Intentional people don't just let life happen, they direct it. So think about how a director is when they're taping a movie, right? The director knows what the scene's supposed to look like, how it's supposed to feel, what it's supposed to sound like, where people are supposed to be standing on set, what camera view needs to be taken in order to get the right feel of the scene. So when you're directing your own version of your movie, right, which is your life, how you want to see it, you have to think about what it looks like to be happy. Think about what it looks like to be in peace. Think about it, what it looks like to grow. Think about what it looks like to be in your purpose and to have ownership of everything you say, do, and think. Think about what that feels like. That's the intentionality you need to go into every situation that you find yourself. And that is what's going to cause you to thrive, right? So let's jump right in. Part 2. Why is intention the key to thriving, right? So there's 3 pillars that I want to discuss. One being clarity, right? So when you're intentional, you know what to do, you know what you want to do, and you know why you want to do it. You stop copying others and you're literally creating your own version. Okay, I feel like a lot of people have a hard time understanding what that means, right? Because you think, oh, well, if they look like they're thriving, let's do what they do. That resonates with them. That's their version of their thriving. What resonates with you is how you're going to thrive, and that's how you're going to find intentionality to thriving. Okay, 2, direction. Thriving people do not set goals. They build systems. Their intentional living gives you structure and stops you from drifting. Think about a raft on the river. Where that raft goes is where that river flows, okay? But intention is like having, I forgot what these things are called, that rows the boat, those paddle things, whatever. That is what intentionality is, right? So it guides you. You're guiding yourself to where you want to go. Even though that river is flowing this way, if you want to go against the tide, guess what? It might be a little bit harder, but you're gonna succeed because your intentionality is telling you want to go this way, and that's where the boat is gonna go because that's where you're rafting. That's where you're rowing that boat to. Okay. Number 3, when you're is power. Number 3 is power. When you're intentional, you reclaim your time, your energy, and your relationships. That's power. That's thriving, right? Because when you think about it, you're giving time to things that don't necessarily serve you, to people who don't necessarily serve you, and your relationships have a major part in how you thrive and how far you go in your growth. Because if you have people around you that are no longer serving you, that are sucking you dry, you're always pouring into them, they're not pouring back into you, that is not good. That is not going to help you in your thriving. So you have to be very, very intentional in reclaiming your time, your energy, and your relationships. And in reclaiming your time and in reclaiming your relationships, you will reclaim your energy because now you have more energy to repurpose for yourself, which will help you to guide yourself down the right path of where you want to go, whether that be to pray with God, ask God for direction, whether that be reading your word and finding out what God has to say about your direction, whatever the case may be. But just sitting there and allowing people to take up your time, your space, your energy, you're pouring into them constantly, you're taking up your energy, and it's not good. It's not how you thrive. It's not how you're going to thrive this year. So you're going to have to let them people go. All right, so I'm going to try to wrap this up really quickly. What gets in the way? So like I said in the last video, what gets in the way of you thriving and keeping your intentions pure is distractions. Distractions like people pleasing, distractions like fear of failure, because we all have that, right? We want to achieve these big major goals, but we're afraid to step out on them because we think we're going to fail. Yes, you're going to fail, and you're going to enjoy failing because you're going to learn something new. Get over it. Deal with it. Also, survival mode, because like I said in the beginning of this video, right, when I was in my survival mode, I thought I was thriving because I was literally doing everything I had to do to make sure I stay ahead of the game. But guess what? I was really holding myself back because I wasn't thinking about how this would affect me. What would I do if I wanted to do this? What do I need to do if I want to do that? I just literally went with the flow, and going with the flow is not always good. It's not. So there's a few things I want you guys to start thinking about so you can live with intention, right? Ask yourself reflective questions. What do I want and why? What do I need to let go of to thrive? Who or what am I living for right now? When you're thinking about those, I want you to journal them and figure out something this week that you can change, that you can work on and be intentional about this week, okay? It's your little big sis, CJ Renee, and this has been 31 and Thriving. Love you guys. Bye. To ensure you don't miss an episode of 31 and Thriving, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to share. It's your little big sis, CJ Renee.